Today, I'd like to talk about MCU Application Design. Creating something graphical in an embedded environment was not an easy task. Let's say we make a button. To create a single button with code, we need more than we think. We need to specify the size and position of the button, and we also have to implement the pressed event if that button is touched by the user. Of course, you may not need these graphical elements in an embedded system. It may be sufficient to connect the MCU and the sensors, convert the analog data to digital, and send it to another device. However, as the utilization of MCUs has been maximized, things that were difficult to do in the past have become possible. This makes it possible to depict vivid graphics through a high-quality display. As far as I know, there are several tools that allow you to create GUIs in an embedded environment. I've been using LVGL for a long time and I love working with it. It works very well on my ESP32 and was able to easily configure the screen I needed. LVGL's official UI editor, SquareLine, makes it faster and easier to create parts that are difficult to write in code. This enables screen composition of much higher quality than writing UI in code. Today we will try to configure GUI through SquareLine and apply it to code together. The currently built system displays GPS information as text on the screen. It's not fun because it's only shown as text. We believe we can do better than this. But the reason we need this is because we know what type of data we have, so we need to do this first. UI UX designers are the ones who know best how to efficiently represent data that we can access on the screen. You can create a much nicer layout with the help from designer, but I don't currently have a designer, so I will show you how I did it. The application I will create is Speedometer. If you Google the Speedometer app, you will see some very nice and cool designs. Here, I can pick out some reference things and sketch what I want to express based on them. Rather than displaying all information on one screen, I decided to display all information on two screens. The GPS information page will display the data obtained from GPS on the screen. The focus here is to display all information from GPS and compass. In the next screen, Speedometer, I have configured a simple screen that shows the speed and compass together. It would be nice to have the gauge change according to the speed. And it would be nice to have a heading degree and make a compass that always points north. This references the iPhone's compass. This is the basic sketch I will be working on today. Let's start working on SquareLine. You can download SquareLine from their official site. I'm currently using it on Mac. Thank you for supporting Mac. I believe you are running SquareLine on your end. In the Create menu on the bottom right, there is a menu of project settings where you can create a new project. Choose a project folder and project name to work with. The resolution I will be working with is 320 by 480. Color depth is 16-bit. LVGL version is 8.3.3 and I set the theme to dark. An empty project is created. The screen interface is very simple. The canvas you are working on is in the center. You can zoom the canvas here. Let me set it to bigger than this. On the left, you can see the hierarchical view. As widgets are added, you will see them updated here. Below shows the available widgets. You can simply add it to your canvas with mouse clicking. In Asset, you can add images and fonts to be used in this project. In the inspector on the right, you can modify and design everything on the currently selected widget. We have to get used to being here. I will show you how to add assets. You can download it from the link below. I'm adding font and image files to be used in this project. 3 images and 1 font file are here. Images are used to indicate the compass and speed gauge. Also, this project uses a font called Open24 Display. Unfortunately, it doesn't support multiple selections, so I need to add them one by one. I hope they fix it soon. Also, font can be selected once after changing the file type. That's not good too. You can see that all the images and the font I will use have been added to the assets. For now, let's make widgets. I'll put the speedometer on the first page because it has a more simple design. It's not a big deal, you can do your style. First thing, I will add a panel widget. Actually, this is not a mandatory thing, you can make it without panels. Just I'd like to make a section using panel. You will then have a more organized hierarchy. This is my style to make a UI. This name is root panel and resize it to fit the screen size. If you look at the corners of the panel, you can see that they have rounded corners. I removed them. I also changed the background color to black. The base panel is complete. Let's create the next panel. It will have a title text. Move the newly created panel under the root panel. All widgets on this screen become child widgets of the root panel. Let me name this panel Top Panel. Since we need to put our title, I will add a label widget. It also makes this label widget a child widget of the top panel. After naming this label widget, set the text for this label. Let's call it a speedometer. Go to the top panel. Let's resize it. It's gonna be 80% of the width. Also, the alignment of this panel should be top middle. And the y-axis has negative numbers to move up slightly. Looks good, but not enough. You should have a new style font. Let me show you how to apply the font you want. Go to Font Manager. Select Font Asset. I added the Open 24 display font at the beginning of this project, so it's selected automatically. And let's set the font name. We need to create a font for each size, so it's easier to use if you write the size after the font name. I set it to display 16 because the font size is 16. Click the Create button. All done, you can see the font files I added as your assets. Let's apply the font we just created. You can find the text font on the style. If you click the checkbox, it will be activated and you can set the font you want. There is my font, select it. You can see the font is applied to the label, but the font seems too small. Let's go back to the font manager and create a new font size. Set name display 24, set font size 24, create. Go to the text label again, inspector, set text font 24. Cool, this is what I wanted. This time, let's create a panel that displays the speed. This panel name is Speed Panel. Set the width to 100% and the height to 140 pixels. Position it 100 pixels over the center. It's negative because to go above. Remove the rounded corners as before and change the background color to black. Let's add an image widget. In the hierarchy view, make the image widget a child widget of the speed panel. And name it Speed BG. Go to the SF below. You can see the all available images. Set the Speed BG PNG file. This time, I will add a slider widget. This widget's parent will be Speed BG, so make it a child widget of Speed BG. Let's set the name Speed Slider. It has also the same 100% width. The slider has a range for value. I set the 0 to 200. I think that's enough for the speed gauge. Also, set the initial value to 120. Now we need to set the styles. The slider has 3 styles, main, indicator, and knob. Let's start with the main style. The background should have no color, so the opacity is 0, which means completely transparent. The indicator style is also the same as the main style, and you can set the background image of the indicator here. Set the speed FG PNG file. Oops, nothing changes. Okay, go back to the slider size. Let's set the 320 pixel instead of 1% for its width. Also for the height, let's set it to 140 pixels like the BG image widget. Now I can see the indicator image, but the knob should be removed. The background image should be transparent. Cool, it looks slick. SquareLine supports a mode where you can try triggering an event. Let's play this page. You can adjust the value of the slider by dragging the mouse. Depending on the value, the part where the image is displayed changes like this. Very nice. Let's create a label that displays the minimum and maximum values of speed. Create a label and set a name, and it should be 0. The alignment should be at the bottom left. Oh, do you know what the problem is here? The label widget's pattern is not the speed panel, so it's aligned in a weird position. Let's move it under speed panel. Now its position is good. The speed BG must be in the backmost. Drag it to up. Good. Let me move it y-axis a little bit. Also need to set it to the font. Oops, it should be display 24. We have to make the maximum label too. In this case, we can duplicate widgets very simply. Click this duplicate icon to easily create one more identical widget. After that, you need to name it again. Note that all widgets must have unique names. The same names are not allowed. After changing the text to 100, change it to the top right alignment. I will change the Y value to move it further upward. This is enough. This time, we will create a panel for the compass. I know you can make the panel. It's the same, change the name, width, and height. Let's make the height 60%. The alignment of this panel should be the bottom middle. I'm gonna down this panel some because the top overlaps a bit. It has a rounded corner, so set it to 0. Also, the background should be black. Also, let's remove the border and set the border with 0. Now it's an empty black panel. Add an image widget here. I will rotate this image to make a rotating compass. Set this widget name compass image. We need to set the asset of this widget. Set the compass PNG file. Finally, we can see the compass image on this project. Happy with this. Above this compass, I will add the label indicating the heading degree. It should be under the compass panel. Alright. Set the name to compass label. For dummy text, let's say 360. Also, you should have the font. Okay, all looks good. Do you know how to rotate the image? I will show you how to do it. Go to the compass image. There is a rotation. You can rotate the image with this value. One interesting is that the range of the rotation is 0 to 3600. It means it can find rotations than 360 degrees. Next is the speed text panel. We're gonna show this panel the current speed in large text. The width is 100%. The height is 80 pixels and the y-axis is -40 from the center. Make the background transparent, not black. Also, we don't need a border, so set the border width to 0. Let's add the speed unit text label. The unit of speed will be mile per hour. The name of this widget is speed unit label. The text should be MPH. The alignment of this widget is set to the bottom right. Also, don't forget to apply the font. We need to make 2 more label widgets. One is for the background text, the other one is for the foreground text. I'm gonna copy this widget and use it. This will be the background text. It won't change the value but just shows 3 digits of 0 with gray color. We need to move it to the left because it's overlapped. This requires a large font, so I will make a large font through the font manager again. It's 90. It's a really big one. Cool, it's created. Let's apply this new one to the label. Wow, it's really big. The top is cut a little, so I'm going to move it down. Now it's perfect. Let me set the color like a placeholder. That looks good. Make a new widget by duplicating this widget. Set this name to speed label and set the color to cyan color. Cool, let me change the dummy text to 120. How about this? I like this design. It's very intuitive for the speed and it looks really speedometer application. The font for the heading degree in the compass seems to be too small. Let me make another font for this. I think a size 40 would be fine. Go back to the inspector and set the font to display 40. Much better than before. Also, I will change the text color to cyan color to make it stand out. That's it. This is what I wanted for the compass. This time, let's emphasize the title part. Go to the title of the top panel. Let's also change the text color to cyan. Go to the top panel, or let's add the border color in the top panel. Set it to gray, and then set the border width to 4. Finally, add the cyan shadow effect to fit the overall theme. You can specify the size of the shadow with the shadow width and shadow spread, and the angle of the shadow with the value of OX or Y. I made it oblique. Finally, the first page is complete. How's it? I think it would take a very long time if I wrote it in code. Also, the styling part is a tricky part to write in code. You have to browse the document to create the style you want. It takes a lot of time and is not guaranteed to make a good style. And this time, I will copy the entire screen. Same as the widget duplication, press the duplicate icon. Here you are. You can see that all copied widgets are automatically numbered to avoid duplicate widget names. The second page is the GPS information page, which focuses on showing everything at a glance. I will remove all other widgets except for the top panel part among the copied widgets. This title should be GPS information. I changed my mind, sorry. The white color of the title text on the page looks better. On both pages, I'll change the color of the title text to white. On the first page, there's a part that I missed. That's the loading icon. It may take some time before the GPS module receives signals from some satellites. It looks like a loading icon is needed to confirm that a signal has been received from the satellite. I will turn this on and off in the code later. For now, let's place the spinner widget. Set the name of the spinner as usual. This widget needs to be aligned to the top right. Set the size to 20 pixel by 20 pixel. As you can see here, it's too stuck on the top right corner. Let's move it to 12 pixels each. Spinner has two styles. The main style is for the background side and the indicator style is for the foreground. First, change the color of the background to dark gray. Also, change the arc width to 4 to make it thinner. Now it's the indicator's turn. I will set the color of the rotating arc to cyan color. This will set the width 4, which is the same as the main style. Even a spinner to show the loading was completed. From now on, we will complete the GPS information page. What I'm going to do now is very similar to what I've already shown. So I will only show the screen I'm working on without my words. I will make sure you don't have any trouble following them one by one. If you don't need this part, please skip to the code export part or set the double speed to watch it. Save your time. The two screens are now done. I hope it was an exercise in creating a UI. After making a few UIs, I think you can quickly adapt to the SquareLine Studio. I believe so. The last thing I will do is add a button. This allows you to move the screen with the button. The button should be on the title text and it will have only frame. This button name is top button 1. And set the width 100%. And then remove the background color. Let's add the button event. When a button event occurs, it moves to the next screen. Select Change Screen from the Action menu, and then click the Add button. Here, you can set the action for the change screen. In Fade mode, you can choose animation effects. I selected Move Left so that the current screen is shifted to the left and the next screen appears. The target screen is the second screen, so select Screen 2. I set the animation speed to 100 milliseconds and no delay. Okay, let's try this works. When a button event occurs, it moves to the next page. Cool. Now let's add a button to the second page so we can come back. Duplicate the button widget and drag and drop to the top panel of the second page. The target screen is screen 1 and the fade mode should set the move right. That's all. What an easy task. If you press the button at the top, it goes to the next page. Also, it returns to the first page through the event again. Congratulations, we made it. So far, we have created an embedded UI using SquareLine Studio. It doesn't end here, but from now on, we have to use this design in our source code. Let's export UI files. You can easily export to C style files through the top menu. Let's create a folder and select it. That's it. They are exported and we can use it. Here are the UI files exported from SquareLine Studio. As you can see, all font and image files are in C file format. I'm going to copy all of these files into my previous project folder, and then open Arduino IDE. All files in the project folder are automatically loaded. You can check all the files in the project folder with Explorer. The shortcut key is Command-Shift-E. For Windows, I guess it's Control-Shift-E. Let's download the LVGL library. You can get it quickly through Library Manager. To use the LVGL library for Arduino environment, you should have this task first. Go to the LVGL folder. There you will find the lvconfig template header file. Copy this to the source folder and rename it to lvconfig. And then open it with any text editor you have. You only need to enable two things. This is for using LVGL. Please change it to 1. The following is the time tick to update the screen in the Arduino environment. After saving, return to the source code again. Let's add them one by one. We use LVGL, so we need to include its header. The UI header file is a file obtained from SquareLine Studio. Add it together. This part is necessary for LVGL screen composition. Depending on your hardware set, you may need to change this part. Please note only. This is the part that initializes the LVGL, set up the buffer, and set the input device driver. It calls a function called UI init. Through this, the UI we worked on in SquareLine Studio is drawn on the screen. How easy is it? For testing purposes, all GPS-related codes will be commented out. Need to call the timer handler so the LVGL can run. With this, we will see if the UI we have been working with is displayed on the screen. I can update the slider by touch. Okay, but it should be updated according to the speed, not by user touch. I will block this part in the code. Touch the upper part to move to the next page. It works the same as what we did. It looks like the UI reset part is needed. Since the dummy text we use in our work are still there, it will be good to clean up the UI as soon as this device starts up. Also, I will prevent the slider widget from being touched. This time, the touch event on the slider doesn't work. Also, all text on the GPS information page are displayed as 0. Now all that's left is to get the GPS and compass information and display through the UI widget we worked on. The widgets we work with through SquareLine Studio can be accessed via the widget name we set. When exported, a prefix of UI underscore is automatically added. You can update the screen using this LVGL object name. It's the output data to the screen according to each widget. If the number of satellites found is non-zero, the spinner should be invisible. I made a simple function to show the spinner gain when it becomes a zero gain. The heading degree obtained from the compass is expressed as text, and that amount is also applied to the compass image rotation. As mentioned earlier, the rotation range is from 0 to 3600, so I multiply it by 10. One last thing is setting the animation speed again. Do you remember I set it to 100 millisecond? I'd like to set it to 50 millisecond instead. I think this is all. Let me build and upload it to my device. Do you like it? Because GPS information cannot be received indoors, the screen is not updated. Only data obtained from the compass is displayed. In this project, UI was created using SquareLine Studio, and the data obtained from the sensor connected to the MCU is updated through the widgets on the screen. Along with the MCU, the display is also developing a lot. What was impossible just a few years ago is now possible. That's amazing. In my opinion, in the near future, the MCU application does not have a display at all, so it'll be used in connection with the smartphone, or it has a very colorful application design to catch people's attention. If you are preparing for the future, you may need this kind of work. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. See you on the next project.